Hello and welcome to NBA Talk with Jordan Valdez. We're back because the NBA is back. So for this first week of 2012, Happy New Year to you. Let's start out with this week's matchup, and we've got Marshawn Brooks versus Steven Jackson. Now, Marshawn Brooks is the rookie shooting guard for the New Jersey Nets. He's actually their leading scorer right now. He's averaging more points per game than all-star point guard Darren Williams. He really just came out strong, and I actually got to see him before the season started. Played in Damian Wilkins of the Detroit Pistons. He hosted a lockout game. Obviously, that was a pretty popular thing for NBA players to do. Anyways, he hosted a lockout game in Atlanta. Marshawn Brooks played in it, and it was pretty cool to get to see him play before the season. Definitely a surprise Rookie of the Year candidate this year. Just really been very explosive for the New Jersey Nets early in the season. Steven Jackson of the Milwaukee Bucks. He's a shooting guard, small forward for the Bucks. He was traded from the Bobcats to the Bucks in the offseason. Um, he's a pretty good player. He's a pretty solid player. Hasn't shown too much this year. Hasn't shown very little this year with the Bucks. But I'm gonna give this matchup to Marshawn Brooks. Marshawn just came out so explosive, and yeah, and you can discuss this week's matchup on Twitter. Just use the hashtag NBA Talk, all one word, just hashtag NBA Talk. And you can also discuss it on the forum page at jvnbatalk.weebly.com. I got a forum set up there, and you can discuss the NBA, the show, and yeah, definitely this week's matchup. That's definitely something you can discuss on the forum. Now let's talk some notable nationally televised NBA games this week. First one is tonight. Monday, January 2nd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBA TV. That is OKC versus Dallas. Now, Dallas has struggled early in the year this year. I mean, OKC has been playing great basketball, especially compared to the defending champion Dallas Mavericks. Now, although Mark Cuban did say that Dallas probably has a better not a better starting line, but a better team talent-wise this year than they did last year on their championship team. They have started 1-4. They do have some pretty good talent in that they just picked up in Lamar Odom, who's the reigning sixth man of the year. Vince Carter, who a very good player, was better when he was playing with the Raptors, but then now that he's in Dallas, they can still expect some scoring from him. And then you've got Delonte West, who's had some problems finding himself as a player back when he was playing in Cleveland and then Boston. But now he seems like he would be a pretty good fit in Dallas, but not working out right now. Dallas is 1-4. However, things are looking great for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are 5-0, behind reigning scoring champion Kevin Durant and his sidekick Russell Westbrook, kind of like Batman and Robin there. But yeah, very impressed with the OKC Thunder. I think that they could be a champion. They could definitely be playing, representing the West in the championship this year. Definitely a game to watch. Again, Monday, January 2nd, 8:30 p.m. on NBA TV. Our next notable nationally televised game is the Atlanta Hawks versus the Chicago Bulls. That's tomorrow, Tuesday, January 3rd at 8 p.m. on NBA TV as well. That's a very good game. Not quite like the OKC Thunder, but the Atlanta Hawks have come out red hot, 3-1. They've notched some pretty good, pretty impressive victories in blowouts over the New Jersey Nets and the Washington Wizards. Yes, of course, those are not playoff teams. Still, the Hawks are looking pretty impressive with their new look bench. Of course, 2 years gone. Jamal Crawford, he's left. He's gone to Portland. He was the 2010 Sixth Man of the Year for the Atlanta Hawks. But Their bench, they really made some improvements. They signed seven-time NBA All-Star Tracy McGrady, and he's coming off the bench. Three-point scoring, amazing three-point shooter in Vladimir Radmanovic. They signed him as well. Their bench is really looking good, and Chicago is coming out, is been red hot too. 4-1. They're looking pretty good this year. Obviously, they signed over the offseason shooting guard Rip Hamilton, and now they were kind of weak at shooting guard last year, having Keith Bogans, who is a very good defensive specialist. But now they waived him, and I really think that Rip Hamilton should bring a lot to Chicago. He's won a championship before. He knows what it takes. Chicago wasn't quite there last year. They lost to Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I think with Rip Hamilton, the Bulls are very much improved. So they got a starting lineup of D. Rose, Rip Hamilton, Luol Deng, Carlos Boozer, and Joakim Noah. And that's pretty impressive, especially their front court. Luol Deng, he's a very capable scorer. Carlos Boozer, he was an all-star in Utah. And Joakim Noah out of Florida, he can block shots and he can rebound and he can defend in the low post. So I think that should be a very good game to watch. ATL versus Chicago. And our last game that I'm going to talk about that is happening this week is the Chicago Bulls and the Orlando Magic, and that you can find that on ESPN. That's an ESPN game on Friday, January 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So this should be a very good game. Both these teams were playoff teams last year. Again, Chicago Bulls right now, they're 4-1, and so are the Orlando Magic right now. It's an Eastern Conference battle. Obviously, different divisions. The Bulls are in the Central Division. The Magic are in the Southeast Division. But this should be a very good game. Southeast Division, let me just point out, is looking pretty good right now. They've got three teams with only one loss right now: Orlando, Miami, and Atlanta. And so that might be the toughest division right now in the Eastern Conference. Actually, that Southeast Division. So the Magic and the Bulls, again, I already talked about them. I'm not going to go through them again. But the Magic, all these Dwight Howard trade rumors are swirling around in Orlando. But despite that, Magic looking pretty good right now. I don't think that they are quite the team that they were when they lost to the Los Angeles Lakers and they made it all the way to the finals that year. I don't think they have been in the past couple of years as good as they were that year. But they're looking pretty impressive right now. So we'll just see. Again, that's Friday, January 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Now let's talk some NBA headlines. I've got one for you right now. The San Antonio Spurs have assigned guard Gary Neal to the Austin Toros of the NBA Development League. It's basically due to an injury. He's trying to rehab it right now. Then once he's healthy again, they're probably going to bring him back up to the Spurs. And why would they not? I mean, they did trade away George Hill, probably because they saw some potential in Gary Neal being able to replace him as that explosive guard off the bench. Gary Neal had a pretty impressive rookie season last year, and he was probably looking to give more minutes from the Spurs, given that they don't have George Hill to rely on anymore. So it's kind of unfortunate for that team that he has to rehab an injury. But I'm sure Spurs fans and Spurs management would love to have him back as soon as he's finished rehabbing that injury. And thank you for watching NBA Talk. And for the latest NBA news, you can follow me on Twitter. I'll try to get back to you if you send me something. That's at MYNCI2894. Again, that's at MYNCI2894. And definitely, if you want to talk about this week's NBA matchup, I was saying you could talk about that on Twitter with the hashtag NBA Talk. You can definitely send me some of that stuff, and I'll retweet you if you say something cool about it. So again, thanks for watching NBA Talk with Jordan Valdez, and I'll see you next time.